Okay, here we are. We are here once again. It is another Monday. The weeks are going by so fast. We are in fall almost, right? Officially, fall starts when, Jen?
Like the 20th or the 21st of, wait, where is it? Of September, right?
I don't know what. Why are you blocking your face? You don't look
Hello,
that
pumpkin.
hideous today.
Pumpkin.
Hello, pumpkin. Okay, yes. So this is where we are. So let us get, let us reintroduce ourselves and tell you who we are and where we are and why we are. That's what we're going to be talking about today. What we do, why we are the best at what we do. We are ThinTech, and we are the best weight loss office in these United States. Some of you do not know that, some of you do. The refrain we hear more than anything else is that this was finally able to work. Nothing else works. This is the only thing that works. And we're going to talk today about why that is. All right. But first, let us be aware of something. We are here in New Jersey. You are where you are. We are all sharing these United States. We are sharing North America as well as the Milky Way. And we are in the same universe. So, in a way, I hate to be cliche, but we are, in fact, all in this together. Now, we have a very important purpose. There's one thing that we know about our clients, and we know that they are powerful beyond measure, and that some of them are hiding that, right? But it's our job to help bring out that power, and we're obsessed with doing it. This is ultimately what we do. Weight loss is the first step. You have to lose weight. Your body has to work better. That's the only way you're going to be able to express who you are and have what you want in life if you're overweight. So you have to be healthy. There's no question. It's not a desire, it's a need. And that is why we are all on the program. All of my staff is on the program now, doing terrifically well. How does everyone feel?
Better.
Great.
Really good.
Yeah.
Corinne, you were saying this morning something about how you're feeling.
I said I feel like I have back a sense of control. Like I'm not feeling the need to supply myself with, like, let's just say my go-to was dumplings prior to being on the program to eat for lunch. And now I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And I'm going to make myself a salad, or I make myself like, zucchini with chicken. And I just feel so much better. And as a result of feeling better, I'm sleeping better, and then I don't need as much coffee. So there's a lot of really good wins for me.
Good. And we're going to talk today about some of the reason why that happens, some of the physiology. I'll try not to geek out too much. I'll try to make it understandable for everybody. But we're going to answer some questions that people have. Sometimes people are just flummoxed. Why does this thing work so well? Why do I feel so good? So we're going to talk about some of that today. But again, I do want to emphasize, like Corinne is saying, you have an increased sense of control. You feel, it's control of your daily activities, but it's also control of your future. It is not possible to be happy if you don't experience a sense of control of your own future. If you're just a leaf blowing in the wind, you cannot be happy, period. That is a state of not being powerful. And again, our task is to restore that power to you. All right, this is why we exist. And like I said before, we are obsessed with it. Jen, next week, I want to talk about Charlene. I want to talk about some of those things that we do that are very different than other people.
Yep.
But today, I think we should start out talking about our Premier program. Now, I'm not sure that everyone knows what our Premier program is. Let me say this. We break our programs down. It's kind of like if you go for a car. So you can get a car with all the fixings, all the electronics, all the leather, everything you want, or you can get a basic car. Now, that's our experience. Some people want all the fixings, and other people, they don't. They just want a very basic thing. Nothing we have is less than the best Cadillac. So your choices are the best Cadillac or a Rolls Royce if you want all the fixings, but they all work. And I do want to say this also. We are one of the only programs, the program that we utilize, that has 2 scientific studies. Now, most people don't know about that. I don't talk about it too much, but I want to talk about that. we have done 2 scientific studies. One was a gold standard. Jen, what is the gold standard of scientific studies?
Double-blind placebo.
A double-blind placebo study, right? We do that. So double-blind means that neither the researchers nor the people who are on the program actually know if the people are actually on the program or on a fake program, right? What they call the placebo. That's one study that was done. The other study was a prospective study. So that looked at a group of people who did our program without any placebo controls. And the results were absolutely remarkable. You guys may not even know this. First of all, it was shown that our program is not only much more effective than a placebo, which you would expect at the very least, but it's also extremely safe. There's actually a strong science certificate of safety that we have. So everyone could breathe easy. Secondly, it was shown that the average person on our program in 40 days lost 26.2 pounds.
Right.
That is amazing. That's the average person. That's men. That's women alike. Some people who do our program only start at 150 pounds.
Right.
So we're taking the average, and that's why we feel good about offering a guarantee of 20 pounds. And mind you, the program is really 40 days, at least the detox portion of our program, which we can get into after. So first, let me say hello to Robin. Robin said, good morning. Have a fun day. You know, we haven't heard from Robin in a while, Jen. Why is she suddenly saying hi?
That's a good question. I did a lot of outflow and a lot of personal touches recently, and so has Jackie, and so have you. So it's very possible that people are just popping in. So.
I thought it had something to do with my birthday, but apparently it does not.
That's right.
Happy birthday, Dr. R.
Happy birthday.
Everyone forgot about my birthday. Look what happens.
I think we should all sing to Dr. R, guys.
When you reach a certain age, people are afraid to acknowledge it. Singing will not be necessary. We have a much higher purpose here today. That's what I'm trying to impart to everybody.
I can hear.
Okay.
Out.
No fun, Jen. No fun.
No singing.
All right.
No.
Here's how I want to start. When we talk about our premier program, and again, the guarantee is 20 pounds, and it's really in the first 40 days.
Right.
So, so people win like crazy. They lose a lot of weight. They feel a lot better. Thank you, Vicky. Now, you guys must have questions from a different perspective. So I want to hear from my staff. I want to hear from you, Vicky. I want to hear from Elizabeth, everyone. Robin, what are your questions about this particular program? Let me first define what it is. Our premier program is top of the line. It's a 3-month program. It starts out with a 40-day detox. All right. So that's the basic kind of mechanics of it. Every day a person texts their weight to a coach. What? You're weighing yourself every day? That's right. Because most days you're seeing losses, big losses. So this is how it works. We take responsibility to bring you through the program, to make sure you're in a fat burning state, to make sure you're feeling great and you're winning. So that's kind of like, again, the outline of what the premier program is. What questions do you guys have?
So are there other things that will happen during the detox phase of the program besides just weight loss?
Okay, so that is a really, really good question. Okay, everyone who's listening, I want you to put your geek hats on right now, and let's talk a little bit about what happens in the program. What goes on is so profound. We don't talk about it all the time. We obsess about weight. It is so profound what happens in your body. And I'm going to tell you why it happens. So one of the big things we're trying to do, let me rewind a little bit. Okay, we're looking at everything that affects your energy metabolism in your body. It's super important. You cannot be healthy without a healthy metabolism. Metabolism is defined as basically all of the chemical interactions that take place in your body. It has everything to do with energy, with creating energy. What do you need energy for? You need energy for everything. Thinking, healing, sleeping, chasing your kids, everything. Okay? So we're looking at all those factors. Now, what can affect the metabolism? There's so many things.
What is that?
So we're looking at, for example, Hydration. We've talked a little bit about hydration. Okay. You are made of 2 trillion cells. It's necessary that they be hydrated. They're all little factories. We're looking at inflammation. Inflammation, these are the little fires that go on in the body. Everyone should be especially knowledgeable about inflammation now, since what we discovered is that during COVID, it is not COVID that kills a person. It's the inflammatory response
Okay.
by people with weak immune systems. That's what overwhelms the body. All right. Inflammation can cause problems, everything from diabetes to heart disease to neurological issues. So we're looking at that. We're looking at detox. We live in New Jersey. Okay. We got to get those toxins out. In the presence of toxins, your body will go into defense mode. It will conserve fat and it will store the toxins in that fat. Jen, did you have something to say?
I was thinking about autoimmune issues. Like, we're told that autoimmunity is just for life. And I've seen both personally and time again with clients how they have long-term autoimmune issues resolve and go away or go into remission or lessen. It's a big deal.
Yes. And I always feel to do a legal disclaimer at times like this, because we do see so many profound things. I mean, I could tell stories, and generally we don't, because legally we're not allowed to treat autoimmune. We're not allowed to treat diabetes. I mean, these things, when they resolve, we're not allowed to really pump it up, but they do resolve. Things do get better.
And we can tell anecdotal tales.
And we can say anecdotally, a lot of things resolve. Jen, that's how you started the program in the first place, right? You were looking at some of your issues.
I was looking at some of my issues, but didn't think that this program would help. And nobody told me before I started that, along with the weight loss and fat burning, that my fibromyalgia would disappear. And I was actually really bad before starting this round. Like, I wasn't able to walk properly. And 10 days, 14 days, around midway, 14, 16 days into it, my body issues eased up. So it's a big deal. Detoxing the body is huge.
Detoxing the body is a big deal. And on the program, here's one of the things that's happening. And we're activating something called the AMP protein kinase pathway.
All right.
Right? Now, everyone say that 10 times fast.
Dr. R said this the other day, and I'm like, I'm listening.
Yeah. You don't have to know exactly what it is, but here's what you do have to know about it. AMP is basically an enzyme. It's a chemical in the body, and it monitors energy use in the body. And a pathway can be thought of as a series of events that takes place rapidly, right? So think of dominoes. Basically, on the program, we're pushing this one particular domino that activates this AMP protein kinase pathway. And when we do it, it sets off a whole bunch of amazing events. All right. We talked about inflammation. So it is highly anti-inflammatory, right? Shoes get larger on people. Rings get larger. People have lost their rings, their wedding rings.
Right.
Okay. So that's one thing that happens. Another thing that happens is it increases mitochondria. Now, mitochondria, these are what they call organelles, little organs, tiny little organs that are in the cells, and they produce energy. They're like little power packs, little batteries. So it increases mitochondria. When this happens, what else? There's a whole bunch of things. Oh, it helps with insulin sensitivity. Show of hands, who's heard of insulin resistance? Okay, good. Who knows what insulin resistance is?
Diabetes.
It leads to diabetes, right? Right. So insulin resistance is one of the biggest reasons why people gain weight. It's because their body produces insulin, except the cells that are supposed to uptake it and utilize it don't do it. It becomes like nose blind. It becomes like your husband's basically what happened. You're always yapping at it, right? So he shuts down. This is what's going on, right? And so now you have just like insulin that piles up in the blood and sugar, and that converts to fat. All right. So what we're able to do is we're able to get that husband to actually start listening again. So that's insulin sensitivity as opposed to insulin resistance. You all want your husbands to be sensitive to you,
Of
and all
course.
they want to do is resist you. I know this.
Because we're irresistible.
Are you sure? Our husbands are amazing.
I didn't say they're not amazing. I'm simply talking about the mechanics that go on both in the body and in the marriage. Okay. So no, I'm using a metaphor that some people can relate to. Obviously, nobody here.
No.
So when you're insulin resistant, you can burn fat. Otherwise, all you can do is store fat.
Right.
Not only do you become insulin resistant, you become insulin sensitive, you become leptin sensitive. Leptin is another chemical in the body that helps monitor fat. And then what it does is if you have a lot of fat, it goes up to the brain and it activates a program to then make the metabolism faster.
Mhm.
That is so. In other words, the way we're designed is that we have these mechanisms so we won't continue to get fatter and fatter. However, when the area in the brain where the leptin goes, if that is resistant, right, like your husband's, then that process can't take place. And this is one of the reasons why people struggle to burn fat, because they are insulin resistant, leptin resistance. Our program resolves this. Well, I don't want to say resolve. It
Has
certainly
in the
helps
past.
a lot,
It
right?
helps a lot.
Yeah. So, Jen, did that answer your question?
It did. Yeah. And I love that we can anecdotally tell stories of that.
I don't know what we're allowed to do. I just know, obviously a lot of things get better, things that we don't treat. We don't treat anything.
We don't treat
No.
anything
That's
other than
right.
weight. However, we have some really cool anecdotal stories that we could share.
We certainly do. I assume we're allowed, but I'm
We
not
are
sure.
allowed. We are
All right,
allowed
what
to
comes
share.
to mind for you?
What comes to mind? So we have a client who is currently between programs right now, but has MS. And we don't treat MS. We're not, full on disclaimer, we are not doctors who treat MS. But she notices that when she's on program, that her symptoms lessen, they alleviate. And her doctor actually recommends continuing on the program because inflammation in the body exacerbates the symptoms of MS. Not my story, not a medical diagnosis, just her story, her words.
Absolutely. When you're in this state, when we're able to activate that AMP protein kinase pathway,
Yeah.
amazing things happen.
Yeah.
Your body, there's another thing that happens. It's called autophagy,
Mm.
right? So we'll have to break down the word. What does auto mean, Trish? Cell? You
Yeah.
have a car, like an automobile? What does it mean?
Right.
Auto.
Moving.
Auto
A
itself.
force moving.
Auto
Yeah.
itself.
Ah.
Right?
Yeah. Sorry. I couldn't.
Okay.
Mm.
And phagy, the word, it means basically eat, right? So when we activate this pathway, now you get something called autophagy,
Right.
whereas the body is actually eating the bad cells, the damaged cells.
Right.
Do you know how amazingly important that is?
Yeah.
You know, all diseases are basically a result of bad, damaged cells.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Super important.
Think of it like Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Pac-Man happens. We create Pac-Man.
Right?
Yeah. Pretty much. That's actually a good analogy.
That's what I see every time
That
we
is good.
talk about it. It's
Yeah.
like the cell vacuuming itself out.
That's what goes on. Absolutely. So, ladies, you've done the program. You're doing the program now. So what did you ever wonder about on the program? Like, why do I have to do so-and-so? Or why does this work?
So the first time I did program, which was me just jumping right in. This is me finishing up now, because now this is probably going to be this and maybe a little half of another one. I might be past my goal, which is a good thing. So I lost 41 pounds in my 60 days.
Unreal.
my first, yeah, and it was pretty low. It was 27 pounds of fat is what I lost.
Jesus.
Wow.
And when I did do the program, it's funny. My biggest thing was like my best way to explain it without giving too much information that I wasn't 100% sure of was that, oh, well, it's a detox. I'm detoxing for 40 to 60 days. And everyone's like, oh, are you going to the bathroom a lot? Because everyone assumes a detox is going to the bathroom, like these colon teas and like, oh, I could just drink
Right.
this tea and lose 30 pounds. And why is it? So I guess my question is, why is it that we assume a detox means that we have to be glued to the bathroom all day, every day? But we're
So,
not.
right. That's what people think, right? That people
Mhm.
think they're just excreting all the time if they're detoxing. Well, we're obviously doing a very powerful detox.
Yeah.
Listen, when it comes to detox, you have to detox on the macro level and on the cellular level. On the macro level, it's estimated that Americans have several pounds of undigested meat
Yeah,
in their digestive tracts.
up to 10.
Right? Yeah, up to 10. Jen said, I've heard higher numbers than
I've
that.
heard
But
higher numbers. Yeah.
listen, I don't want to find out because I don't even know what that would take, but it sounds gross.
Yeah.
So,
big
so
plunger.
so you do want to detox on that macro level. You also want to detox on the cellular level. So when we're talking about the cellular level, which is what we were talking about when we talk about autophagy, that's part of the detox process is the body taking care of the bad cells.
Mm.
Can I just
There's-
say something?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I just happened to look up at Corinne's face, and wow, I just wanted to like, yeah. Oh my God. Sorry. Awesome. Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, wait, let's put a pin in that because
Yes.
I want to talk about Corinne's face.
Oh my God.
I want to talk about Corinne's face.
I'm sorry. I totally interrupted, but it was
Corinne,
like,
does your face hurt?
No, don't
Okay.
My
answer.
face feels so much better,
No,
actually.
let's
I
put a
don't
pin
feel-
in that. I know I want to talk about that, but I want to complete so people aren't confused because Jennifer
agree.
saw a ball of string go by and this happens sometimes. So
Silver objects, shiny objects, Jen.
ooh, loud.
ooh, yeah.
All right. So autophagy is part of that detox process, but there's another thing that happens with this domino effect of the AMP protein kinase pathway is that it activates something called catabolysis. Now, catabolysis is the breakdown of certain tissues, right? And so some of the undigested stuff is going to be then eaten up.
Mm.
The body becomes more efficient at taking what we're ingesting and turning it into energy because if we don't convert it into energy, we're converting it into what?
Fat.
Fat, right?
Thought it was a-
Stored fat is potential energy. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, regarding Corinne's face, which, yes, it does look lovely.
I'm like,
And all of our faces over the last couple of weeks have gotten thinner.
Mhm.
Here's what I tell people to expect when they start the program. And this is based on my experience, and everyone is different. So these are rough estimates. After the first week, your face will change, right?
right.
Cheekbones become more prominent, jawline gets tighter, right?
Mhm.
Is this what you've seen, Jen?
Almost across the board.
Right.
Almost
Mhm.
After the second week, generally people go down a size in pants.
right.
Now, sometimes that's the third week, but you know, these are generalizations. Okay, depends how much a person has to lose, et cetera, et cetera. So this is an expectation. As the program continues, it is almost shocking sometimes when you are, let's say, in the shower, and all of a sudden you're like, what is that? What is that protuberance that I feel? Oh, that must be a rib.
You gotta be cool up.
Oh, it's a rib. I just said protuberance. I wasn't gonna.
Oh,
No,
God.
back up.
Yeah.
Morning's conversation.
Yeah, this morning, exactly.
Suddenly you start to feel bones that you forgot you even had. Okay? Ribs, hip bones, the hip bones when they come out. That's exciting, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, men, depending on how much they have to lose, they'll start to see their upper abdominals.
Yes.
Look at Trisha's
Right.
collarbones.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for
Collarbone
me,
can
it's
come out.
collarbone. Like
Me
all of
too.
it.
Right.
And what is this bone bump here called?
Oh, the
That's
shoulder.
the AC
Shoulder.
joint.
Thank
That's the
you.
AC joint.
Right there.
Yeah.
You know
you're
what's so
from the-
funny? So, Corinne's daughter said, like my kids, they're swimmers, and they have such amazing
Prominent.
shoulders. And some people like, oh, swimmer shoulders. It's such a beautifully defined. It's so nice to
Yes.
see. Like they're pointy and they're like, it's just. I
Mhm.
couldn't get that if I tried. So I'm like, thank God it's the program. At least she looks a little related to me.
Yeah, they go like this, like their shoulders, like literally if they have, it's like a total
V.
hourglass and it's a big V.
Well, and this is what happens on the program. So men will regain that V, right? The proportions change as the waist gets smaller, and you know the shoulders look proportionally larger, so they get that V. They're more attractive.
Mhm.
Yes.
Females will get the guitar back, right? And there's supposed to be a defined kind of guitarish shape,
Mhm.
depending on her particular body type.
Yeah.
Right? But that's supposed to be there. It's not supposed to be straight down or oblong or any of that, right? So you start to see that. Yes, Jen. I love how Jen's raising her hand. She's become such a good student. Jen, can I get an apple, please? Go ahead.
Sure. I just won't polish it. There's a question on the board. I know. I'm sure you see it. Just yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lisa G has a question. Does breath remove weight? So this is a really interesting question, and you'll actually get different answers. I think researchers are not of one mind about this. Like, where does the fat go? How does the fat get removed?
Mhm.
I think the best answer I can give you, based on what I've read, is that in several different ways.
Right.
So the fat itself, it undergoes a process called lipolysis, right? It breakdown of the fat that goes into the bloodstream. It gets processed out. You know, a lot of it will go through the kidneys. So you will pee out fat.
Mhm.
You know, doesn't that sound like fun?
Oh yeah, loads.
Yeah.
Well, but now just to go back, just to recap on the detoxing, why is it that we're not going to the bathroom in excess?
Wait.
Actually detoxing.
I was talking to Lisa.
Oh, sorry, Lisa.
Okay. But the quick answer is what we said before about how the body breaks down its own thing. So it's being broken down. We're still going to the bathroom, but we're not living in the bathroom, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, Lisa, also some fat is thought to, yes, be expelled out through the lungs. Also as heat that comes off the body. Right? But as far as the ratios, I can't tell you. I've read different things, but those are the three ways that I'm aware of.
Right.
That right now, Jen, do you have any more on that?
I was thinking expiration, exhalation, right?
Right.
Inhale,
Breath.
exhale, breath out, because it's droplets, right?
Droplet.
Exhale, urine and through fecal matter and through throwing off heat, which makes people freeze. So your
Right.
body
Yes.
heat. So, but people do have bathroom issues, Jackie. Can I say the technical term? We talk about poop a
Sure.
lot.
We do discuss poop all the time.
Poop is a big topic at FinTech.
Let's discuss poop for a minute. Go ahead, Jen. You start us off.
Clients are always like, I think this is TMI, it's inappropriate, and it's a common conversation.
Wow.
Yeah, it's everybody poops, and
I have a book on it.
right, exactly. And people's bodies react differently, and if you are detoxing, some of that sludge will come out. We also have the opposite that happens because we're putting in less food and the body needs to take more nutrients because it's now functioning more optimally. So it does hold on a little bit more. So we talk about both things, and everybody's detox reaction is different.
Right.
So I have people who will say I've had nothing but, in the bathroom. And I'm like, okay, you're detoxing. That's cool. It's awesome. Are you uncomfortable? No. Good. Then keep going. Right. Like, don't like it literally. Sorry. Boom, boom. But it's different if they're feeling uncomfortable. Then it's a whole different conversation. But, like I said, we have the opposite effect also. So,
Yeah.
Poop's a big conversation. Don't be afraid to talk about it. We talk about it
Poop
every
is a
day.
big conversation.
It's okay
People,
to talk shit.
we have seen a lot. We have seen a lot about poop. We were talking about anecdotes before, Jen. We have two ladies who come to mind. One of them we should probably have on to tell her story. But we have two ladies who come to mind who had a problem where they could not move poop through their bowels.
Correct.
So it would be horrible for them. They went to all kinds of doctors. They were put on medication and they couldn't go. They started to do our program. They started to go every day.
Yeah.
I mean, it is unbelievable. I did not treat that. I had I had nothing to do with that. My mission in life is not to help people poop.
Yeah.
But it happened, and believe me, they're a lot happier now.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And a lot smarter because that's when people do most of their reading.
Well,
The library.
he's got the answer to that. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, God, yeah.
All right, that's all I want to say about poop.
That's what you guys say. Too.
What other questions do we have?
So
What?
for
I was
me,
gonna
you go, Corinne.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Trish.
So for me, I notice right away, like my skin automatically changes. Like I suffered from like acne as a teenager, and then it got better as I, got older, and then it got worse, and now it's better again. And then, but I do notice the minute I start program, my skin like just feels amazing. It clears up. It looks flawless. I don't need makeup. Like really fine.
You have
For
a
me,
glow.
that's one of the huge benefits besides losing my 13-year-old baby weight.
Yeah.
That's terrific. Good.
It's so funny you said that because I say it all the time. Like, all right, when I was hesitant to get back on program, I'm like, I can't even use the baby weight experience as the excuse anymore because my kids are almost in college. I'm like, how much longer can I push this? I'm like, and now we're on the other side of COVID. I can't even use that excuse anymore. I'm like, what? Enough.
Well, here's what I could say regarding your skin. We see that a lot with people. I mean, like it's so obvious. We can tell when a person is on the program and when they're not,
Right.
just by looking at them.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very, very dramatic.
Mhm.
The joke is that when women come in and say my skin looks and feels amazing, the joke is, well, there's no extra charge for that.
You're welcome.
That one's on us. But that is also part of what's coming when the body gets hydrated, when we're restoring those good nutrients, when there's detoxing. Sometimes the skin gets temporarily worse because the detox process happens, and and so some things come out through the skin.
Mhm.
Right?
Out
We see that as well. I'm sorry, Jen.
Better out than in.
Better
yeah.
out than in. That's
Yep.
right. It's expressed through the skin, which is the largest organ,
Correct.
actually.
Take
Yeah.
that for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one thing I wanted to mention is one of the reasons that our program works so well, I think this is the science, but besides the science is a couple of things. It's so easy to execute.
Great.
It is so structured.
Yeah.
The program, everyone knows exactly what to do. The only stress, the only angst that comes from the program is really what we bring to it ourselves.
Right.
Mhm. The
Other than that, the anticipation, right? Yeah.
Plus, go ahead, Jack. Sorry.
No, well, when you say like the structure, a lot of people are intimidated by structure too. As much as they need it, they're afraid, well, that means I'm going to be limited. And the
Yeah.
truth is, it's not the case. It's structured in a way we tell you exactly what you have to do to see the results that you want, period, the end. And there really are, the limitations are really only what you put on them yourself because you really do have a very wide variety. If you go into something with a negative connotation, like, well, this is going to be hard. This is too structured. I don't want the rules. you're setting yourself up for disappointment
Yeah.
because this works and it works quickly, which is
there's a push-pull that happens, right? Because people know at some level that they need the structure. They need to have a
Mhm.
plan. And on the other hand, they tend to rebel against it.
Yep.
So it's a funny thing. And that's why, next week I mentioned we've been doing some things to help people with mindset. Did I tell you I'm obsessed? I'm really obsessed. We've been doing things to help people with mindset. And I'm working on materials and Jen has as well. And in just a short time and with a short sample size, like we've seen people like really do amazingly well, like really just change their attitudes, turn them around 180. And so I do want to talk about that next week. All right. What other questions do we have? We're getting towards that time where I feel like, I don't know, I don't want to continue.
I have
to
more,
bother
but I
these
don't want to
people.
throw it all at you.
Well, I was
studying
going to
to
say
do.
this.
Yeah.
So for me, for program, the main thing that works for me is being held accountable.
Yes.
Because that to me was what was needed. So tell me, why do people respond so well to being held accountable all the time?
Because we want rules.
Does that make sense in what I'm saying?
Yeah. So Jen said one answer, right? We really want rules, even though we think we don't. And we touched on this, I think, last week. Without we want to be free, right? But if we're totally free, if there's no parameters at all, that's chaos. And chaos isn't freedom. Imagine living in a world without gravity,
Mhm.
right? So that's not actual freedom. That's what we think we want. But when we have it, we realize we need some structure. We need guardrails.
Yeah. So think about it like this. If you have children and they're allowed to run willy-nilly through the house without any set bedtime or mealtime or any structure, you've got a bunch of little wild heathens on your hands. And we're the same way. We're just like adult children. We need boundaries. We need structure. And within that structure, you can kind of kick around, but you still need, you're right, like it's bowling, letting kids bowl without the little gutter protectors. You can't
Yeah.
do that.
It's
You know,
true. But
Well,
it-
I'm going to give you I'm going to give you a couple other reasons.
Sure.
One is obviously there's something about the energy of a group, right? Or even a couple of people. Even if you have one other person to support you, there's just something about that energy, right? Together, you're stronger than obviously you are alone.
Yeah.
There's a famous story about a basketball player. His name is Isaiah Thomas, and he grew up with I think 9 brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And his mother was always preaching family. And she would do this little experiment where she would be like, okay, give me your finger, and she would twist it and she's like, I could break this. Now put all the fingers together.
Yeah.
And that you can't.
Boy,
Right.
I need for that.
Yeah. So there's
Good one.
something to be said about that. There's another thing though, and this might be a good point to end on. There's a problem that people have, and it's this, and it has to do with sinning. But it's more than just sinning. It's the perception that it's okay to sin against yourself.
Worst. It's the worst transgression ever.
It is a horrible transgression, but we've all adopted it to some degree.
Yeah.
We will all do things to ourselves that we wouldn't do to our children. How many mothers have you seen eat horribly and their kids are getting all organic food?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that perception needs to be changed. The worst sin we commit is against ourselves.
True.
Right?
Very true.
You're only hurting yourself thing is not okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
True.
that's really where I think I should end.
Well,
Ladies,
Dr. R,
yeah.
well, 2 things just before you end, and we could add on to this another time, but I think it's also the knowledge. Education. People like for Corinne's question, I think that the answer is the knowledge of it. I feel like people don't understand the severity of their actions long term.
Right. When we're talking about support, there's a couple of different kinds. There's emotional support. There's, expert support. So obviously that helps. We know what to tweak.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, see, and for me too, like in regards to support, if I'm texting Dr. R, for example, I don't ever want to text him that I gained weight. Like, I want to always be like that perfect patient that's like, I lost weight today. Like, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer. I always
But
want to
this is the point, though. If you were going to hold
Yeah.
yourself accountable, like
I wouldn't do
theoretically, it
that.
should be at the same standard, but you wouldn't,
Right.
Mhm.
right? So that's why being held accountable from someone from the outside is helpful. That's why
Absolutely.
Michael Jordan has a coach. You
Right.
know what, Jen?
So here's where the expertise comes in too, because there are times where people might stay the same or actually go up. And we have the reason why that may happen. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. And it doesn't mean they cheated. It means that other good things are happening, which I guess we can talk about next time since we're
Absolutely.
over the limit. Write it down, Jack.
That's it. I'm
Over
writing
the
it down.
limit.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it's happened.
Understanding is a huge thing, and that's part of our job and our obsession is to help people understand, because for
Right.
lack of understanding, how many people will stop if they go 3 days
Right.
without losing any weight on the scale?
Right. Oh my God, the cry emojis. Guys, no crying emojis.
That's a rule. No crying emoji.
No.
Coach
before
gets upset.
The coach is upset.
The coach gets upset. Don't cry. Please don't cry.
No more tears.
All right,
You
listen,
can't
I
go without
want to
singing happy birthday.
wind it up. You guys want to sing happy birthday? I don't think I can bear it. I don't think anyone listening could bear it.
They can.
Do you feel
They can,
strongly
they can,
about
they
it?
can. Come on, ready? One,
One,
two,
two,
Wait, let
three.
me mute first.
Oh, yeah.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday to you.
Yeah.
Cha-cha-cha.
If you're gonna do it right. Let's
Dr.
go.
R, have a
Happy
wonderful day.
birthday. Wait, where's my fan? I need a fan.
Come on, Jen. Come on, Trish. We
I
need
am not singing in public. Thank you.
Here.
Oh, Trish is muted. I love it.
Jackie, stop singing. You're going to attract every dog in the neighborhood.
I hear barking.
My window's breaking right now for me. No,
Listen,
thank you.
so thank you. So honestly, to the degree that that people are happy that I exist, I am happy. So thank you. All right, that's what we're celebrating. Okay, that's going to be it for today.
All
All
right.
right, bye, guys.
Take care.
Bye.